in an event such as this. I'm wondering if NYCHA is engaged in the emergency response in these conference calls and on these task forces.
NYCHA is on the Winter Weather Steering Committee. They are one of the agencies, and they are activated many times during emergencies. They were not activated in this particular one.
They were not activated?
They were not activated, but they were on all the calls, and they were reporting their status when we had those calls.
And why were they not activated?
We activated the agencies dealing with winter weather, essentially, and those were, I went through the list, I have to find it again, but it's police, fire, Department of Sanitation, Department of Transportation, OEM, Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Parks, all these came in, and MTA, and others, and those were ones that had the capability of responding and moving the snow.
Well, Commissioner, we can talk about why NYCHA wasn't involved later. I have some more questions. Mr. Deputy Mayor, I believe you said earlier in response to a question from Councilmember Williams that you were still trying to figure out parts of your role as it relates to Commissioner Bruno's role and where one begins and where the other. Did I get that right? Is there confusion between your role and Commissioner Bruno's role?
I don't think there's confusion. I think the way I interpret the question is when there isn't an emergency declared. When there is an emergency declared, it's pretty clear what happens. When there's not an emergency declared, but we have very serious situations on the ground, how do we organize those resources? And I accept the responsibility of doing that more vigorously in the future, but also to nominate up the chain of command, escalate more quickly, kind of the non-decisions, right? We have a process for escalating the decisions, but not the non-decisions. That was the issue here, and we're going to fix that.
Well, speaking of which, the other thing that Councilman Williams and Otto, I think, talked about this specific part of your testimony, that Commissioner Daugherty and Commissioner Siddiq-Khan had made the decision not to declare an emergency. And you and the mayor were not aware of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you ask them if they were declaring a state of emergency?
No, I didn't.
Why would you, as the Deputy Mayor of Operations in charge of this entire response, not think to ask the Commissioner of Sanitation and Transportation if they were declaring a state of emergency so that you could understand at least their reasoning for deciding or not deciding?
It's a very good question, and my answer is that I had enormous regard for John Doherty's 70 successful snowstorm fights in a row. I wasn't going to interfere with the working model. He calls me when he needs assistance or has a question. I relied on that. Maybe we'll change it. We will change it next time. That's the reason the decision was made this way.
Before Councilmember Bramer, I think it's totally unacceptable that the thousands of residents of NYCHA is not activated. Most of them are women with children. It's totally unacceptable, and I hope that we can do better in the future. Councilmember Ferraris.
We'll fix that tomorrow.